Hi, my name is Raquel. In order to buy or sell, you have to have the money of the beast on your mind or in your hand. It's one of those words they don't translate correctly. Oh, the people in New York occupy Wall Street are going to be getting some snow, it looks like. I wonder how they're going to manage. But there's the charagma, and that's the word that's not translated correctly. You can see that what it means in the context of everything, buying or selling money. Charagma, there's charagma. From the unabridged Greek-English lexicon, you can see that it means the impress on the coin or stamp money coin. So these people on Wall Street that are opposing the plutocrats never really came up with any solutions to this problem. I think that the only real solution would be to eliminate money. We've got all these different problems. We've got global warming, 7 billion people on the earth, and then we have the water's going to rise from global warming and displace a lot of people along the cities, and along the coast I meant. And then, what else do we have? This funny money thing where they're playing these games on Wall Street with milliseconds betting and having prior knowledge and insider trading and derivatives and phony mortgages and phony AAA ratings on some of these bonds that they were selling to school boards, and the whole country got looted. It's like a whole big casino. So the only real solution I can see is to get rid of the money, and the easiest way to do that would be to recall all the currency and reissue something like I have behind me here, this one of these $666, and then anybody that has more than maybe $100,000 in cash would have to exchange it, or anybody would have to exchange it. But like if you had $100,000, then they would ask you where you got it from, and so any money that was made on Wall Street with these funny money games and not straight investing would be confiscated, and then of course all these drug monies would be confiscated. And so we'd get rid of a lot of bad money that way. But you've got to spread the word about eliminating money. There's many famous people that have believed in eliminating money, and I had this gospel of eliminating money that I wrote, and I have this up on my website. A whole bunch of famous people who believed in eliminating money. Like, Jesus. Jesus said you can't serve God or money. You'll either love the one or hate the other, or hold to the one and despise the other. I think I'm going to turn this music off. It's getting too noisy. But the Pharisees who loved money, and that's a different word there, it's philarguron, which means fondness of silver. Those people who loved money heard all this and scoffed. And that's in Luke 16. The New English Version, they translate the word mammon as money. It's mammon is a Hebrew word. Today they use it in Israel. And mammon in Israel means like finance, high finance, a lot of money. I think they have a magazine called Mammon there. And it's like Fortune 500 or whatever, the Fortune magazine. So, and Jesus sent his disciples out without money. And he said that, and St. Francis of Assisi told his disciples to despise money. It's like dung. And, it says that in Ezekiel too. There's a lot of, there it is, it's right above this. They shall cast their silver into the streets, and their gold shall be as an unclean thing. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. And then he says here that it hath been the stumbling block of their iniquity. This gold and silver is the stumbling block. Money is a stumbling block because it causes people to do all kinds of evil, bad things. And let's see who had to say that, who said stuff about that. I think, St. Thomas More Utopia, they didn't have money. And this famous thing from Shakespeare here, where they're talking about kill the lawyers. But the whole context of it, you can see is here. When I am king, as king I will be, there shall be no money. And then the butcher says, but first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers. And then Shakespeare has a long thing in Timon of Athens about, this is about gold. This is the end of it. It starts on the other side here. But a lot of these people realize that, like in Plato's Republic, the guardians, the aristocracy of the Republic would not touch gold and silver. And then, what else? Oh yeah, Plato considered democracy as one level above tyranny. It's like these people on Wall Street, they think that like everything will be wonderful if they just got rid of this corporate personhood, and then they could not have influence on elections. But most of the people that have been elected in the past, since they killed Kennedy, since the CIA killed Kennedy, all the presidents, like Gerald Ford was on the Warren Commission, and he became president, and Nixon was in Dallas the day before Kennedy was killed, and allegedly because Nixon was the lawyer for Pepsi, and Pepsi had a big thing in Vietnam, I guess. They were trying to sell Pepsi in Vietnam, and that's kind of one of the funny things, like if you go over to some of these places, like Thailand, they're selling Pepsi there, and it's kind of weird. And like they have Kentucky Fried Chicken, and so like all these wars are caused for the sake of getting money. That's a really common quotation. I don't know if I have that on here, but you can find this on my website. All these. Oh yeah, here it is. Money is the sinews of war, and a lot of people have said this. There's where I was telling you about St. Francis of Assisi, revolted by the unscrupulous pursuit of wealth. St. Francis of Assisi denounced money itself as a devil and curse, and bade his followers to despise it as dung. But here's all these people that believed that money is the cause of all wars. It's like the strength of the wars. That's what they're saying there. But even Sallust, where is this one about Sallust telling Caesar that everything would be fine? I don't know. Let's see. Well, this guy said this, love of money is the mother city of all evil. It's like a lot of these so-called Christians, they talk about, they always say, well, it's the love of money. But like, you either love it or you hate it. That's what Jesus said, is you either love money or hold to the one and despise the other. So everything this guy St. Paul says is like not logical. And if it's not logical, it's not of God. And that's how you can tell the difference. And that's another one of those words that they don't translate correctly. This guy, St. Paul, is like the Antichrist. This stuff about confessing with your mouth that Jesus Christ has risen from the dead is like crazy nonsense. And so like that's the whole problem with the Christian religion, is like Jesus Christ, if he came back today, would be crucified again, and he'd be called a communist and anarchist and everything else, and they'd crucify him. So I just kind of losing hope about any real change. But if these people down there in Wall Street, I don't know, I would have been there if I was probably younger and didn't have anything to do. I used to travel around in a van and and I'd probably go there and check it out. But there's like so many problems in the world and these Occupy Wall Street people, they're not focusing on the real problems, like I was saying earlier, global warming and peak oil is where we're running out of oil. There's people that think that, there's so many also stupid conspiracy theories out there too. Like some people believe that oil is constantly being created under the earth. You get on some of these forums and people will bring this up. It's called I don't know if it's propaganda. Maybe the CIA is doing this. They have a plan to infiltrate chat rooms, and I think they've done that pretty much on the Occupy Wall Street forum there. A lot of people bring up Ron Paul on there, and they say, it's like they've been brainwashed to think that the Fed is a private thing. And they love to say that it's no more federal than Federal Express. But the people that are on the board of the Fed are appointed by the Congress and the President, and they regulate. They just kind of fell asleep. It was the people that were running the Fed that was the problem. That idiot in there, Alan Greenspan, was like ultra-libertarian and follower of this Ayn Rand, who wrote this really big, fat book called Atlas Shrugged, and people are like culting. It's like a cult, and this guy Alan Greenspan really admired her. And she believed that leaving companies to themselves, they're always going to do the right thing. So they really had a bunch of scams going on there. They call them liar loans and zero down, and I guess, I don't know, people were kind of dumb to pick them up, but and the price of houses was going up crazy. It was a bubble, and I didn't see it coming. If I would have seen it coming, I could have would have been better off than I am today. And not only that, but this tenant of mine quit paying the rent, and then somehow or other they never even paid the water bill. They've been living there since July 12th. They moved in and paid the rent a couple of months, and they never got the water in their name. So the city shut the water off about 10 days ago or so. And as soon as I found out, it took me the city sent me a water bill, and I'm saying, what am I getting this for? And I called them up and didn't realize that my tenants were living in there without any water. So when I found out, I just stormed in there and said, hey, you got to get out of here. There's no water in the house. And they said, okay, yeah, we're leaving tomorrow. But they brought a dog in there, and I told them, no dogs. And then they had roommates in there, and I said, no roommates. And the place had dogs all over the place. It smelled terrible. They had something in a bag in the back that just smelled terrible. I don't know how they're going to be able to... the place was... We just fixed it all up, and I rented to these people. It's just unbelievable. But they were only like 18 years old, and I tried to give them, a break, and I just hope they get their things out of there and don't cause any trouble. But there's this Occupy Wall Street thing. It's like, if they could come up with some real solutions, like eliminating money. There's very few people that actually work. Most of these people, we've got bankers, bookkeepers, accountants, salesmen, sales clerks, and real estate agents, and all these people that make greasy hamburgers and things that aren't healthy for you. My friend Jennifer was saying they had somebody that was on NBC Nightly News today about the world population, and this guy was saying that we've got to become vegetarians. And most of the corn and soybeans they grow in the United States are fed to cows and pigs, and people can live off corn and soybeans. For a year I lived on corn and soybeans with a little pinch of salt and vitamin C every day for a year. And I bought the corn at like a feed store, and the soybeans I bought at... They used to have a tofu factory just off of 4th Avenue. And I'd go in there and buy a bushel of soybeans and grind them up. I usually wash them first, like in the morning I'd wash them, and I had this rack that I dry them on. It was like a flexible screen. It was made of not metal but fabric, and I rolled it up. I think I still have it. It's a really neat little frame I made and varnished, and you can dry your corn on one half and the soybeans on the other. And then you put them in the grinder, and I'd run the soybeans through one so that there was little pieces, and put them in the pot first, and then boil them, and then put the corn through twice, like it's flour, and throw it in there, and that's, people can live off of corn and soybeans. And I really felt healthy. It was very good. It was very nutritious. But then I stopped doing that and just moved on. It's like all these years I've been talking about eliminating money, but it just doesn't seem to make anybody do it. But if a Messiah, I'd like to make a screenplay where a Messiah would come back and say things like I'm saying, and they'd talk about the 9/11 thing, and they'd talk about the Kennedy assassination and this Holocaust hoax. But anyway, it's going to be tax time. What is it? November 1st. We have to pay our property taxes, and this was in the paper, not too long ago. It shows how this housing bubble went up, and I was telling you about that. 2005 right there, and that's when I should have sold everything, right, top then. And now we're back down here, which is about the same level we were in the year 2000. The only problem is our Pima County assessor just doesn't lower the property taxes, so it's really putting a squeeze on me to just liquidate everything. And my goal would be to, like I said, liquidate everything and buy some land up in Oregon or something and start growing some food and have chickens and goats around. And I was telling you that how the global warming is happening. This was in the business front page for some reason. I guess they're showing how they can get products across here instead of having to go way around. They can come across here instead of going through the Panama Canal or anything, because the ice has melted back so far. Observed ice sheet extent. Median ice link. It's usually that big, but it shrunk so much, so they can get through there. Oh, what do we have here? They're trying to get in Pakistan, clamoring for aid in Pakistan. And about 220 people have died, and 1.8 million have been displaced after heavy rains. That's all related to this global warming. Here's a kind of an interesting chart that shows you where the states were that voted for these presidents. And then what's over here? Margin of victory. And then what's up? Oh, that's for Obama. But you see all these dumb states, Mississippi, Kentucky, Louisiana, Alabama, Arkansas, West Virginia, they all voted for John McCain. Idaho. Wow. Arizona, too. You see, that's where I live. And then these states way over here, like Hawaii, they really loved him there. And so D.C. is way off the chart, it says. Anyway, I don't think I have too much more time left. I'm, like I said, kind of pessimistic about everything. It just doesn't seem to be a way out of this unless, like, they could maybe start making solar and wind power things, and the days of driving are over. They're ripping up the earth and fracking and polluting the earth, and it's just they have to have this stupid growth in order to maintain the capitalist system, which just doesn't seem to be working very well with all these people unemployed for so long at mostly unnecessary jobs, making things that we don't need and making unhealthy things and using it to do all kinds of things like drugs and prostitution and alcohol. They're making these cigarettes too. Anyway, I'll see you later. It's Halloween pretty soon. Bye. Hey, wait a minute. I went off too early. I screwed up again. Darn it. I wasted all this time because I didn't read this clock right. I'm starting to leave. What a trip, I tell you. It's been really kind of scary lately. It just doesn't seem to be the way it should have been. Like when my dad was born, there was like 2 billion people on the earth. Now there's 7 billion. This just happened recently, and I've always been telling you that this is the problem, and one of the major problems is this geometric world population growth that we have here. And there it is in 1946, there was 2 billion, and this is the way the United States looks. And here it was like shooting up here. There's 7 billion, and it wasn't too long ago that it was 6 billion. So that just happened recently. Here's one thing I haven't shown you. I finally found it. It's this quotation: Muammar Gaddafi believed in eliminating money, but they don't. No, that's another reason they wanted to get rid of him. I think that was terrible the way they killed him. And this is something I made. I can't remember how long ago, but I did it on a Macintosh, and it was like about the time that Reagan bombed Gaddafi. It was during, it would be in the 80s sometime. Yeah. Anyway, there's what Gaddafi says, and it's very similar to what this guy Friedrich Engels says in The Principles of Communism. These all kind of relate to each other. Karl Marx believed in eliminating money, and so did Nikolai Bukharin, who was a protege of Lenin. I got a quote by Krishna there from the Bhagavad Gita: the demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more. And then Oswald Spengler, in the conclusion to The Decline of the West, he talks about the dictature of money marching on, tending to its material peak in the Faustian civilization as in any other. But they talk about the economic world. I mean, it's like if we're going to we've got to evolve, and the only thing left for humanity to do is learn to live with each other. And this money thing makes everybody a slave. They've got interest on loans. Adolf Hitler was against charging interest on loans. So they make you slaves out of this. And St. Paul says you should bow down to the government and kiss their butts and everything. That was on the very top of that. And I put a bunch of different things together. Slaves, give entire obedience to your earthly masters. Be submissive to the government and authorities, for they are God's agents working for your good. But like they killed Kennedy, and this 9/11 thing was a setup, and this Holocaust thing was a lie because Adolf Hitler wanted to get rid of interest, and he was against the Jewish banking system. And so if Hitler would have had his way, instead we wouldn't have had the Cold War, we wouldn't have had the Iron Curtain, and it would have been a very much different world. Bye.